Coming up, it's all about you.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Priest.
Bow bow, Shaun Priest.
Bow bow indeed, Stephen Scott. How are you, mate? You all right?
I am good. I'm full of coffee and full of inbox. No, that's not right. But yeah, okay, you get the idea. The inbox is overflowing. Yeah, that didn't make sense at all. In fact, thank goodness there's no editing capability on this program. Otherwise, it might make sense.
Yeah, perhaps we should rethink that policy of no editing. Let's do that again. Yes, we're going to dive into the inbox today. I love these episodes, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just dive right in. Come on.
Email. We get email.
Yes, we do.
Email every day.
Every day.
Ding dong.
Here's your mail today.
Binky, bonky, binky, bonky, binky, bonky. Yes, we've got plenty of feedback to get through today, and we're going to dive right in. And Gregory wants to talk to you, Shaun Priest.
Hey, Stephen, and especially Shaun Priest. I have a rant to submit today. I was just listening to the recent podcast about Shaun having a whiny fit about AI and the possibility of having a charging cord connected to a pair of smart glasses. Really, is that too much for you to take? AI is here to stay, and you guys were discussing, I guess, AI guiding you down the sidewalk. You know, just remember, I submitted that demo of the Celeste glasses, although it wasn't perfect, and they're now no more. That experience for me of guiding me down the sidewalk, teaching it, learning how to use it, using my O&M skills, it was pretty good, even though it wasn't perfect. And come on, Shaun, AI is here to stay, you know that. And with the crappy battery performance in a lot of these glasses, I hope to connect a USB-C port to my EchoVision glasses when they arrive in a few months so I can use them on an extended period and enjoy using this technology. So I know, Shaun, you were up all night, couldn't sleep. I get it. I have the same problem. Good luck, you guys. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for letting me rant. Feels good to do it.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Feels good, especially towards Shaun Priest. This I'm loving. I'm going to sit back now and just, let you respond to Gregory.
Okay. I am very, very sorry, Gregory. But I believe you kind of proved my point there about the Celeste glasses and that demo that you sent in, where it was telling you there's a little thing on the road, a little weed or something, and then there's a car parked on the sidewalk. I was blown away. But still, we're being promised this, and we're all looking towards this. We're not there yet. This isn't happening. The proactive model, which is what I want, where it says, oh, wait a minute, there's something in front of you. Just move to your left a little bit. It's not there. And I'm not convinced it's actually going to show up anytime soon. Yet we're all looking, and you've only got to look on social media, on all the groups, which I'm a part of as well, by the way. Look at these groups, and people are looking at these glasses and saying, well, these are the answer. They are not. And AI isn't the answer currently. And I was very specific to say that. I think in general, the way they're throwing all the data at it is actually making it worse. Focus data, it's fantastic. AI is an amazing technology. You just can't trust it at the moment. And I think we just need to, sort of hold back on these next pair of smart glasses that are going to come out are going to solve all our problems. I don't believe they are. There, I've said it.
Whinging,
I'm
whining,
sorry.
moaning. That's all I'm hearing.
I thought for a second Gregory was going to say you two were disgusting, but he said discussing, so quite happy. Yes, I'm with you, Gregory. Well. Look, I'm still very excited by AI. I'm reevaluating my expectations. There you go.
Well, it's hard not to. It is hard not to. I mean, especially when you get so many wrong answers to things. I mean, I think the other thing that gets me is, you see these stories about how AI is going to take over in so many fields. And I was mentioning, I think last week on the show that there was a CEO of a major company come out, and it was actually the CEO of Cisco. And he had come out and said, look, this is overblown. This is really overblown. It's not going to take over, and especially not with entry-level jobs. In fact, that's possibly the worst place it could take jobs, because, you need these entry-level jobs so people have got a chance to actually have a career. So, actually handing that off to AI is not the smartest thing to do. And, obviously there's two sides to this, right? There's what the technology can do and what people themselves need to do, right? So we as a people, I think, still need a purpose. We often talk in our world, in the blind world, about the importance of jobs and the importance of purpose in our lives. And I'm not saying that having no job means you have no purpose in life. Of course, that's not the case. But there is something about having a job. There is something about having a reason when you get up in the morning to do something that gives you fulfillment, that makes you feel like you're part of a society. I remember being out of work for 2 weeks. I'll never forget this. I was out of work for 2 weeks between two different radio stations I was working for. One had, decided they didn't require my services any longer.
What?
And the other one decided they did. But there was a 2 week gap. And in that 2 week gap, I remember just feeling so lost. I'd go into town on the bus and see all these people scurrying around, going to work, busy buying coffee in their lunch break and all that. And I was like, I really want to get back to work. I really want to be doing something. This kind of sitting around doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. See, that's the other thing, though. In this sort of culture, and it's not just recently either, it's been for the longest time, this, you're just on benefits, you're on welfare, and I wish I was. And that people don't realize is that feeling of self-worth is so important, and it doesn't matter what you do. 30 years, what am I doing? It's not as easy as, you're just on holiday and, sitting there doing nothing.
No,
that is not it at all. It's so important when it comes to work.
Yeah. I mean, look, let's not.
We're going off on a tangent here.
We could talk about this all day. We really could, but we're not going to. But it's an interesting point. And I think when you tie it into how AI is coming along, there's this sense of it's going to take over. Look, I tend to go on the basis of, it's never really going to be, it's never going to be the worst that people say it's going to be, and it's never going to be the best that people say it's going to be. It's probably going to land somewhere in the middle, right? And that's probably meaning that, yes, over time, it will have an impact on jobs and it will have an impact on things. But is it going to happen by next year or 5 years' time? I don't think so. I hope not. I actually hope not.
It's going to
shift. I don't think we're ready for it.
AI as a tool to help us get into employment, to put us on a equal level, could be actually, a real boon when it comes to AI and what it can do for us. But of course, it does impact in other levels. It's just a shift in rules, I think, of employment.
I think my issue that I have with it is that ultimately, you ask it a question, it doesn't have a clue the answer. Or it gets it wrong with confidence. And you think, well, this is really, I don't want this to be driving me down a road at 70 miles an hour or, it building my IKEA furniture or cutting my hair. I don't really know if that,
I just see it getting worse and worse and worse. And it's really disappointing to me. But as I said, you give it some focused data, a focused, limited model to work off, it is absolutely amazing. It just feels like they're just trying to run and get the investment in it and trying to push it, and it's getting worse, the information it's giving you.
One more thing I want to say on this before bringing Joe's comment on this on AI is that I think we as well get swept up in the hype. And I say we as in you and I and people around us who are doing these kind of shows that talk about it all the time as if it's the next big thing. The reality is, I imagine, I'm going to just put it out there, that I would say 10% of our listeners probably have tried it. And there's about 90%, I would even go that far to say about 90% of our listeners have either never tried ChatGPT, never used it in any way, never used any of these services, maybe heard about them, maybe they use them and unknowingly use them, like, for example, with Google Home or, Lady A on the Amazon Echo. Maybe that way they maybe interact with it, but that's probably as far as they go. They're not sitting down with ChatGPT every night and, coming up with a new app design or, getting into the detail of a spreadsheet. I think that number of people are actually small. I think the most, I always remember, and it's just an anecdote, but it made me think. I was on a train with coming to see you, and I remember chatting with this woman on the train. She worked for a major bank in the UK, a major international bank actually, and she was talking about how they were beginning to use this thing called Copilot. She said, they're telling us we should use this in our job. It's part of the Office 365 package. And she says, I don't really know. She said, well, what does it do? And this was not a silly person. This was a smart woman. She knew her stuff. She knew her business. And when I was telling her what it could do, she said, well, that's what I do. That's my job. That's what I do. Why would so if it's doing that? Is that affecting me? And she was saying, well, I wouldn't need it because I can do that already. Like, I'm smart enough to do my own job. I don't need it to summarize my documents or tell me the data that's in the spreadsheet because that's my job. I'm an analyst. So, it does make you think, okay, what does that mean for those kind of people? It also makes you think, yeah, look, if people aren't even using this stuff yet, how prevalent is it? Is this just a big hype? Is AI just hyped? Overhyped, perhaps?
Well,
I don't know.
It's definitely hyped, but I think there is a good reason. The technology behind it is absolutely amazing. And look, it's being pushed in front of everything, right? As soon as this Hey Copilot rolls out to everyone's build of Windows, everyone's going to be using it anyway. I
think you're right. I think more people will get into when it's in front of people like that. I think that's when it will be more likely to be used. Because I think at the moment, if you're having to go seek it out or you have to pay a monthly fee for it, I think about a lot of our listeners. I think even of myself. I do use it every day. I use it for a very specific purpose. I don't really spend a lot of time in there. I just tend to use it for one or two tasks. I am beginning to use it more. I think the problem is I'm having to constantly go to that website. If it was built into the system, I mean, you're right. With Copilot, once it's built in, and it is already, you can, of course, go to the Copilot app and use it right now. That
Windows C.
Yeah. And, then, use it. And, again, you can pay for it if you want to get more functionality and all the rest of it. That will make a big difference. It's a bit like, I guess, it's the equivalent of Teams in some ways, isn't it? In terms of how people will think about it. It's just another app that they'll start to use every day that will become part of their lives. Whether or not it's as useful or as important as people make out, I don't know.
And then we start to evaluate the information that it gives us, if it's useful or not. It's so interesting. I saw yesterday on social media, someone posted up, why is everyone talking about Copilot being so great, right? Because I've type a message to it and then I go to find the response, in the list of responses, and it'll only read a little bit of it out using the screen reader, and then I can't find the rest of the answer. And you know what? I went in there. Absolutely right. I can't get it to read the entire answer out. I can't, even using the screen review, object navigation, whatever tricks your screen reader can do, I couldn't get it to read the entire answer out either. I never noticed that because I always just talk to it. That's how I use AI all the time. I never type to it. So there's still accessibility issues there as well, which is just really disappointing.
Did you try it with Narrator? Or only with NVDA?
Do you know what? Actually, I didn't try it with Narrator.
Well, in fairness, it should work with NVDA. There really shouldn't be an issue with it.
It just shouldn't be that difficult. It should automatically read out the response anyway when you're typing it out, or just jump focus directly to it. But you got to, go around this circle of terrible navigation that you find in a lot of these apps now. It's not the easiest thing.
Yeah, and on the Mac, just don't even bother. It was a pretty bad experience. I haven't used it for a while on the Mac, but I remember when I first tried it, it was pretty awful.
Hang on, is Copilot or are we talking ChatGPT?
Both ChatGPT and Copilot, right. Same issues. Much better on the PC from memory. Certainly for ChatGPT, that's for sure. But yes, it's a funny thing. So someone was talking the other day. In fact, well, let's get Joe, because Joe was commenting on this whole AI discussion we were having as well. Let's see what he has to say.
I recently heard the episode in which Shaun was frustrated with the current progress of AI. The example was given that platforms like Gemini, ChatGPT, and Copilot could not accurately tell someone the keystrokes to turn screen curtain off and on using NVDA. I use Gemini for certain tasks, but primarily rely on Perplexity and thought to put the question to the test. My prompt was, what is the keystroke in the NVDA screen reader to toggle screen curtain? Its response was, the current default keystroke in NVDA from version 2024.1 and later to toggle the screen curtain is NVDA plus Control plus Escape. This command turns the screen curtain on or off, making the screen completely black for increased privacy while using your computer. I am in no way suggesting Perplexity or AI in general is perfect. I am, however, suggesting that we are still in a preliminary stage where choosing the right model and asking the right questions will go a long way in maximizing success with the specific use case. I choose Perplexity and, in fact, pay for the Pro subscription because I found its results exceed my expectations. Unlike some of the competing options, its results are up to date, and while I may need to verify the information using publications it automatically cites, this would be no different from running a basic Google search. and reviewing several credible sources before drawing conclusions. Tailoring a visual AI experience to meet the needs of the blind and low vision likely requires an extra mile in development. I think we'll get there. Considering where we are now, where most models can render a fair description of your immediate surroundings, I think we've come remarkably far for such a short length of time. My only mild critique of the show is that you guys might be a bit too quick to deem certain technology inaccessible. There was a different episode where you both said company websites like banks could be too overwhelming and that using the mobile apps were always preferable. I believe we should encourage users to become proficient at using both. I personally don't care for the Amazon app. The full website allows me to search, sift through, and compare products with greater ease. Perhaps I can produce an audio demonstration that shows a range of keystrokes and methods to navigate websites with greater confidence. I don't want to give companies a pass. We should absolutely expect our dollars to be treated with the same value as anyone else's, but we can't afford to give up on platforms just because they are not performing quite as proficiently as we would like in the moment. And, I have to say, Shaun was right. If there was a vehicle parked halfway into the sidewalk, 2 steps away the sidewalk was not clear. The AI was wrong. Keep up the great work. The show is very much a part of my weekly routine now. Joe in Virginia.
Thanks, Joe. Lot to pick up on that one. Where to begin? Well, look, I will say this, and this is interesting. So this morning, and it was partly because of your email, Joe, I did read this in advance, and I was thinking I must test Perplexity. And I couldn't think what to ask a question. So I thought, hey, I'll ask the screen reader question. I'll ask it, how do I turn on the screen curtain in NVDA? 2 things I noticed. I asked it to tell me about NVDA, which it did. The follow-up question was, how do I turn on screen curtain? And then it told me how to do it on iOS. And I thought that was interesting. Didn't have a follow-up. Now, I wasn't paying for Perplexity. This was the free Perplexity. So I don't know. It's the first time I've used it, really. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. I then asked it, what?
Oh, you're asking it wrong. Of course not. You didn't give it any context, Stephen Scott.
I thought I didn't have to.
At me
as they keep telling me I'm not supposed to give it context. That's what you keep telling me.
Joe was very, very clear there about what prompt he typed in.
Hang on.
Okay. Yeah.
So then I went on and I said, no, I want to know about NVDA. How do I turn on the screen curtain? It proceeded to give me exactly the same answer that you got, Joe. Except it gave me an entirely different command. It said NVDA plus Shift plus S will turn on the screen curtain on NVDA. And I said, no, that's incorrect. It said, you're absolutely right. It's NVDA plus Control plus S. I said, no, it's not. It's NVDA plus Control plus Escape. And it said, yes, you're absolutely right. NVDA plus Control plus Escape gives you the screen curtain. The screen curtain is, and I'm like, yeah, I know what it is. I've just told you.
You're getting annoyed, aren't you?
So that's interesting to me that 2 people using the same thing. Now, the only difference there was Joe's paying for Pro. Well, I forgot to pay for Pro to get the right answer. Is that how it works? It just seems ridiculous.
That's exactly
that's how it works.
To be fair, that was the point I was going to pick up on, because I'm nearly 100% sure I've asked Copilot in the past and it's given me the correct answer. But it's that consistency. If I can't trust it, I'd much rather saying, I don't know. Or what could be the issue here is that in Copilot especially, you can choose, take your time, think about this, deep research or whatever it's called. I'm doing I don't want any delay before you answer. It's almost just a natural conversation. So how can I expect it? Am I expecting too much of AI to look this up, give me a correct answer in, 2 milliseconds, rather than the 30 seconds for think about this before answering? Maybe if I choose that option, I always get the correct answer. I haven't looked into it. But that is exactly the point. Yeah, Perplexity, all of them. I just find them all inconsistent, and all are quite happy to say, here's the answer. And, oh, no, it was wrong, but you're right. And you can have that conversation for 10 minutes and it will change its answer every time.
Yeah, I think my issue, and I know I'm not a smart person when it comes to this stuff, but I think if I did a Google search on this, I'd find the right answer very quickly. It wouldn't give me the wrong answer. It would give me an answer, or it would lead me towards the answer. And I think, well, if I can do that with Google search and a very simple search string on Google, then what on earth is AI capable of if it can't even figure this out for itself? I mean, if it can't do that basic search string and pull that information out, I mean, it's one thing not being able to give me the answer, but it's one thing when it actually just makes it up. That's the bit that throws me. It's like, how are you just making this stuff up? I mean, if you don't know, just tell me you don't know, but you should know because it's there.
I can't find the answer to that.
And then, like Joe's he got the right answer. So is that a fluke? It makes no sense to me how that works. But, you know, it proves the point, I guess, that, you know, inconsistency is all over the place with this. It's just all over the place. It doesn't have a clue. And it does make me worry about using it. It certainly, I mean, I was using it recently to do a bit of research on something, a topic that's coming up soon. And you know what? It just gave me all the wrong info. I mean, it was leading me towards, I asked it to give me specific articles or specific reference documents on this that I knew it would go and find, reports that it would go and find. It brought me the reports and gave me all the wrong information about the report whilst delivering the actual report to me so I could go check and find out it was wrong. You know, it was like even the date on the report itself, it couldn't get right. That's was
more
wrong.
Concerning to me because it's actually got the reference information there, but it's just giving you garbage basically, which is strange. It
that was
should be able to
ChatGPT. You know, you think it should be better than that.
You know what else I found, and this is no disrespect to any emails that we've got. I find that since I've been talking about this, and this is just people I've spoken to in my own social circle, people are very defensive about AI. Oh, no. What are you talking about? It's amazing. Look, I totally get it, but we still need to be honest and say, this is wrong. This doesn't work well. These are the issues that I'm getting. But people are so invested. And as you mentioned earlier, maybe we're to blame for this because we got caught up in the hype and still are caught up in the hype of AI. But
I can't honestly say I have. I don't think I've got as caught up as some have. I mean, look, I use it. I'm excited by what it could potentially do, but I don't think I've ever had that wow moment. I mean, honestly, that Geekon A5 mini PC I've got gave me more wow moments than AI ever has. You know, I honestly don't think. I mean, look, there's some things I do. I think, okay, that's good. And like you said earlier, and I think this is the key. When you focus it on something, you say, I want you to do this task. I want you to use this amount of information and focus in on this specifically, then it's good. That's when it's really good at that stuff. If you say summarize this document, it's going to give me that information I want. It's when it's kind of going out to the wider world, it just seems to be either making it up or it's so confused. It's like it doesn't even understand how to put the data together. I want to mention as well the comment you made about, Joe, about, you know, your critique of the show about, you know, sometimes we jump to inaccessibility. I don't think we do. I think we talk about our experiences as we find them. That's what we do here at Double Tap. We don't represent the world and the world's view on anything. We represent our views and you represent your views, and it's a conversation, and that's what this is. And look, you like the Amazon website. I would rather eat my own face than sit and go through that on the Amazon website. Really? I'd rather use the Amazon app, or actually, I'd rather use Inner Search. And it's funny, even that has created debate in the community. Oh, well, if you're using Inner Search, that means you're not using Amazon, and that just lets Amazon away with it. You know, it lets Amazon away with inaccessibility. No, it makes my life easier. I'd rather, I mean, look, I'm sorry, but I would rather have a simple, accessible shopping experience that gets me what I want quickly than have to, you know, hammer around some website for hours on end, not even 100% certain I've ordered the right thing. You know, I'm sorry, sometimes it comes down to efficiency, and it comes down to how many, in the disability community, you hear about spoons. How many spoons have you got to get through a day? You know, I use all of them on one app. You know, and I'm sorry, I just can't be bothered with that. Do I want an easy life? Yes, I do.
Well, yeah, but it also comes down to what you're comfortable with, what you're familiar with. If you've always been using, let's use the Amazon app as an example.
Oh, you've always been on the web, yeah.
It feels easier. There's nothing wrong, as far as I remember, with the accessibility of web, you know, jumping through the headings. Or I seem to remember on the Amazon website, I had to get to the search results, jump to the graphic first and then arrow down to get the description and things like that on the search. But that may have changed. And look, it's perfectly accessible. Navigation is just different. There's more to navigate around, but there are quick ways to do that, obviously. The Amazon app at the minute, awful. Current location. Every time you swipe to move to the next element, current location is all it says. You got to swipe back and then maybe it'll read it out or maybe not. You got to do it about 4 or 5 times. Terrible. But you know what? I still go to it. It's the first thing I go to because I'm familiar with it. I don't think there's a this is right, this is wrong. If something is inaccessible, then we will call that out. But usability and familiarity and what makes you feel comfortable with it is different.
And look, it is all a matter of opinion, right? I mean, I get so many emails sometimes, not from you necessarily, Joe. I'm not talking about you here, but, I get emails from people who almost feel like it's like the word of God sometimes when we say these things. And I'm like, no, that's not. We've got to get away from this idea, right? We've got to get away from this. Look, as I've said a billion times on that, especially on that bragging network over there. What's it called again? LinkedIn.
Don't say it.
They love when I say that, but the comments that I get, people love it when I talk about this. But, the people who think that there's one true opinion, and it's like, no, there's not. When you've heard from one blind person, you've heard from one blind person. That's it. You're hearing from Shaun and I. You're hearing our experiences. They may differ. There's a perfect example. I would rather spend my time on inner search, getting what I want, and I feel like I'm supporting a company that are actually making a product, as in a website or a storefront that makes it easier for me to shop online more accessibly, more easily. I really prefer doing that. And that's my choice. I'm not saying that I don't ever want to go to the Amazon website again. If I had to, I would. I'd rather not. Because I just don't want to be bothered with the hassle. I admit wholeheartedly that I struggle online. I do. I struggle on the web. I just struggle with it. I either end up stuck inside. I mean, I have to say, I cannot use Edge. And someone was asking me yesterday, well, why didn't you use Edge? Because I get stuck inside that menu bar all the time, and I get stuck inside some other collection of buttons that don't mean anything.
It's perfectly fine.
Here, stick to this.
I don't even
stick
put
this on the
Chrome
desktop. Like, no, I don't want all that. I just want to buy something. Why am I stuck up here?
Press F6.
Yeah, I know. And then I get stuck in it again when a new page opens.
You're doing something wrong then, aren't you?
The internet's terrible. Just shut it all down.
Wrong opinion from Stephen Scott.
Forget it. Just shut the whole thing down.
Can I quickly say, I can't remember, was this Joe or Gregory, about the cable for your smart glasses and charging them?
Oh, we're coming back to that. We'll take a short break.
Oh, okay.
We're going to circle back to that one. Don't you worry. We're coming back to that. You're not getting away with that one either.
Oh, no.
Stick around. If you want to get involved with the show, here's how.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback at doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
So continuing with our series of emails today on the subject of Shaun is wrong.
Hey, Shaun, this is Douglas Yates from Texas, living in Nuremberg, Germany. Your comments about the side pieces for the Ray-Ban smart glasses, the side shields, you're completely and totally wrong. They are very, very fixed. They fit very tightly. They look as if they're part of the glasses. And also, there's an extra bonus. The part of the clip goes over the top of the arm, or as they say over here, on the top of the bugle, it goes on the top of the arm, and it also stops just past the touch sensor. So it gives you a really good orientation point to know where the touchpad is. Because I've changed my glasses so that I do a triple finger tap and hold to talk to Meta rather than her listening all the time, because it really saves your battery. And yes, I tried the cable. I sent it back. I just don't like the idea of a cable dangling around my ear, down my neck, down a shirt. I just know. That takes away the whole concept of the glasses, that they don't look like tech. So I'm just as happy wearing them, and I put on a normal pair of glasses while they're charging, and then I swap out again. And at Christmas, when I'm home visiting family, when the Meta tends to go on sale on the Meta website, I'm going to buy a second pair just for that very reason. But the side pieces are fantastic. The only negative, if it's really warm, like it is in Texas, where I was just visiting my family, it holds a lot of heat behind your face. So you feel like your eyes are sweating. It's a little warm, but that's the way it is always with those things. But at home, when it's wildly bright and wildly humid, and I'm very light sensitive, they're fantastic. And they were like $15. So I'm a big fan, and they're easy to get on and off, and they are not loose. They are not wobbly, they are not rattly, and not jiggly. They are fixed and will not move unless you move them. So you guys have a lovely day, and I will enjoy listening to more of your podcast. Bye-bye from Douglas in Nuremberg.
Not wobbly, jiggly, or wiggly, or any of that kind of stuff. No, I can attest to that. Mine's arrived, and I I really like them. Now, I will say they don't shut out all the light from the sides. But
pointless.
if you're out
Send
in the
them
sun,
back.
if you're out in the sun, you will notice a difference. I mean, I've never taken them off since I got them on, and you're right. I mean, they're solid on there. Really, really nice. You wouldn't even know. And I will say, that point you made about kind of being a little bit of a guide to the touchpad was exactly what I was thinking as well. It kind of, as you put your finger up onto the arm or the leg, depending on how you want to go on it, then you can kind of feel
or the wrong way. Yeah.
You can feel the kind of edge of the little hook, and you can feel the edge of it, and you can just then you're on the touchpad. So that's really quite nice as well. Not that I'm saying I sit and swipe my forehead all the time, but I sometimes do.
Apparently do. Okay, you know what? I was wrong. There.
Yeah,
I've said it.
You were.
I was unreasonable. I was
unfair.
Unfair. I didn't give it a chance, and I was just absolutely wrong. Yeah, I was just grumpy on this one. I did give it a fair shot. So I take that, Douglas. You're absolutely right. I am very, very sorry.
Quite right. And Gregory's back.
Hello, Stephen. This is Gregory again. You said recently you're going to order that charging accessory for the Ray-Ban glasses. Hey, let us know how that goes, if it's any good, because I reviewed a couple of them, and one of them, the charging option is the one that goes up under the bridge, your nose, but the wire is so thin that it burns through. I hope that's not the one you're getting, but anyway, please let us know if that accessory works, because I would really like to have the accessory too, because I use my Ray-Bans a lot to do video and pictures. So thanks, Stephen. Thank you very much.
Well, I can tell you that it hasn't burnt through yet, and my eyes have not sweated yet. So that's good news. I am going to admit, though, that cable, it does. So the way it works is it kind of connects to the bridge. So it kind of connects right in the middle of the glasses, and then the cable runs up and kind of around the rim of the glasses, and then around onto a little hook, which you can connect on. And then the cable goes down over your ear and down the back of your shirt or whatever you want, and you could plug it into a power bank or even into your phone. You asked me, Shaun, the other day about the length of the cable. I don't know how long the cable is, but put it this way. If you have got a pair of jeans on or basically a pair of trousers with a back pocket, you'll be fine. But if you want to get the cable to come down and go into your side pocket of your jeans, ain't going to happen because it's not long enough. So but it could do with being maybe 2 or 3 inches longer, to be honest, that cable. But other than that, and of course, I guess it depends on your height as well and all kinds of other stuff, right? But
that's right.
But ultimately, But for me, it just kind of makes it so that I can put the phone in my pocket with the USB-C attached. I haven't noticed it heating up. One thing I did notice, though, or one thing I was asking the Meta glasses was, are you charging? And it couldn't tell me that, because it kept saying, no, the case is charged, or, put in your case to charge. And it wasn't really unsure. It wasn't obviously able to respond to that for whatever reason. So I wasn't 100% sure it was charging, but I assume it was. I assume it was. There was no way to know.
Well, you can tell by your battery life, right? If you record a video for 3 minutes and do 10 of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
what's your battery life afterwards?
To go
Has
down.
it gone down, or is it the same?
I mean, as soon as I put them on, it was 100%, so it was hard to know in that moment. But yeah, I mean, once I'm using it more often, I will let you know. But so far, so good.
How about comfort? Does that not annoy you? And how does it feel on the bridge of your nose?
You don't notice it on the bridge of your nose at all, but you do, because the cable kind of comes up at that point. So it's kind of up and then over almost like over your eye, if you like. But you will. The problem is that it's the point. There's no point to connect it in the middle or at the edge, I should say. So it kind of hangs across, so you can feel it on your eyebrow. It feels a bit weird.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, it feels a bit weird. I mean, you can make it work, but you're trying to. I mean, I hate to say I'd probably end up with a bit of sellotape or something just to kind of hold the cable down.
Sticky plaster.
Yeah,
like the old
which
days
is not ideal. Yeah, that's when the
arm of your glasses back on.
Not ideal.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just because of the location of the charging connects, I just don't see how this is going to work in any reasonable way. Look, these accessories should be there. What if you misplace your case or it just stops working? You should have a third-party option there. But actually using it as you're wearing it, I just don't see this working in its current form. I don't know how they could make it work. Going back to what Gregory said about the Echo Visions and wanting to connect them to a battery pack, absolutely fantastic. I wish the Ray-Bans had this option. I'm not against having a hardwired cable or even just the USB port in the, the end of the arm of the glasses. Of course, I would love that as well as an option. It's just I'm specifically talking about the Meta Ray-Bans, and because it's in the bridge of the nose of the glasses. It's just never going to work as a third-party charger.
Yeah. Okay.
Not while you're wearing them, anyway.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you for your comments on this. We'll let you know how it goes. But the side shields for sure are a winner. I think they are the best out of the lot. So
yeah,
I would definitely encourage you to get those. But you know what? I think if I'm being brutally honest, I'm kind of with you on this. I'd probably end up going down the route of just getting a second pair. And you know what? I think the question's coming up at some point about, what smart glasses should I buy? Someone asked that question. We'll get to it. But it is tricky at the moment because we've got the Meta Connect event coming up on September 20th. And something new, I imagine, will come out. I mean, there's lots of talk of a new pair of glasses with a screen in them. I'm not particularly interested in that. But I am interested in where they may take Ray-Ban glasses next. Will there be a new generation of them? And if there are, what are they going to bring? Because by all accounts, the reviews I've seen so far of the Meta Oakley glasses is that the sound was much better from the speakers. And I have to say, I find the sound of the Ray-Bans pretty decent. So I'll be intrigued to see where all this goes. I mean, it feels like they're kind of competing with each other. It's the same company, really, isn't it? All just competing with each other.
Do you think they are going to announce any upgrades to the current Meta Ray-Bans? Do you think there's going to be Meta Ray-Bans?
Yeah, I think they might.
I don't think there will be. I think they'll concentrate on the Oakleys and just push the Oakleys.
Well, even that'd be fine. I mean, something new to buy, I suppose. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Great.
I want to buy something. But what about, I suppose it's the AI we're all really wanting to see an upgrade in, right? See some movement there. That'll be, this event coming up will be really interesting, actually. I think I'm like last year, I'm kind of more excited about the Meta event this year because I think there's been a lot of talk about the Quest, the VR headset, being something that they're kind of investing in less. So I don't know if the focus is all in now on glasses rather than VR, which I have to say is a very smart move because they're definitely more universally popular, right? I mean, VR headsets have never really sold that well, have they?
Well, the Quest has done really well out of all of them because of the price point and because of the standalone nature of it. But it's the games
and it's the availability of stuff. It's never really caught the imagination, though, has it?
I hate to say it, I think the audio smart glasses are almost a byproduct of them looking into the visual smart glasses. That's what they're aiming for, is the digital displays over the real world, Terminator style, being able to give you information in front of your eyes. And the technology just isn't there yet for them to be able to do that in a sunglasses design. But hey, it works for us because we get things like the Meta Ray-Bans. Audio style. So.
Exactly, yeah. As long as they keep that going, that's the thing. So we said this last year. The fear is that they go down the visual route and kind of forget about us. But I mean, we saw that with the Google event, right? There was talk of them being two versions when these finally come out from Google and Samsung.
They're optional displays.
Optional displays, that's right. So you can have the option to have them or not, which I guess would be why it's optional. Right, moving on. Ibrahim's here.
Hi, Double Tap. This is yours truly, Ibrahim Omar Abdul Karim from Kano State in the northwestern part of Nigeria.
Hello.
I got some information about Double Tap. I haven't listened to iOS and Android technology WhatsApp group. And so I'm very happy that you people featured the Hable One and other Hable device that has been launched not quite long ago. And I can testify that Freak Van Velsen is behind my getting a free Hable One Bluetooth keyboard, which I use to write long messages, like essays, like articles, like poems, like everything. So I so much love the Hable products. And I'm also interested in other technology gadgets for the blind. It's not quite long that I got an ultrasonic electronic walking stick for the blind, as they so call it. It is so printed on its carton, ultrasonic electronic walking stick. So it vibrates and it has a voice output where if you're coming close to an obstacle, it will be saying danger, danger, danger. And it has a place, there's a button where if you press, it will be emitting some siren sound like this fire alarm drills sound. And you hear the statement, I am blind and I need your help. So that's what it will be saying. And it has a built-in clock. You can set the clock and it will tell you the hour and the minutes. You can do some alarm settings and it has hourly announcement. Well, it's a multi-purpose cane, I can say, made in China. I wish I knew the address of the company. I would have shared it here, but anyhow, it is one of the cheapest smart canes I've ever seen in comparison to other canes like the Ultra cane, manufactured by Sound Foresight in Barnsley, York, and the We Walk Smart Cane for the Blind, which are very, very expensive. This one is a little bit cheap, but to some ordinary Nigerians, they can't afford getting it because it is running into like 250,000 naira. Or if one can say it accurately using the dollar, it is just like $150 to get in the cane. Yeah, so I hope you discuss about it and about other devices, other technology gadgets for the blind. So thank you very much, Double Tap. I've double tapped to be able to speak to you, and I'll double tap to end my call now, or my voice message now. Thanks, and take care.
Wow. Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you for getting in touch all the way from Nigeria. Wow.
Yeah, and welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I've got to say, ultrasonic, electronic, it's a walking stick for the blind. I love that that title for it. I mean, it's just
It's a phone. It's a diary or
it's
whatever.
Grease Lightning.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? I really wish you knew the company name, but I'm going to Google that after because that sounds really good. I mean, I was laughing at the you press a button and it goes, I'm blind and I need your help. I'm laughing. I can actually think of occasions where actually that would be quite okay. That would be okay for me to use in emergencies.
What was it you called
I'd
it?
like
The blind seance? Was it that what you called it when you're calling out to the room to say hello?
That's
to
right.
See if anyone's
Is
there?
anybody there? Is anybody there? Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I can't justify the expense of the WeWalk. I know you're still loving yours, Stephen, but I couldn't justify the expense of a WeWalk cane. If there was a cheaper version, which, I mean, danger, I would hope you could turn that off. But if it vibrated when it detected something in front, that would be more than enough for me. I'd love to try this out myself.
Yeah. I mean, amazing technology for the price as well. So yeah, if you can get in touch with more information on it, or we can perhaps source it here, we'll definitely do that. But that is very interesting. You say walking stick. Now, again, this could be a language thing because sometimes in different parts of the world, different words are used to describe almost the same thing, right? So, I think in America, over here in the UK, we would call it a white stick, but in the US, they would dare never call it a stick. It's a cane. It's that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if walking stick is a kind of a catch-all term, and this is a Chinese company, so oftentimes translations don't always come across very well.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, every time I look for a cane on Amazon, I see so many results which say, white walking stick for the blind.
Yes,
seems to be a translation thing, maybe.
Yeah, I kind of love that. It feels like just for a second there, it felt like one of those Braille displays. It's got a clock and the alarm and a diary and all the note taker,
liquid level indicator.
Liquid level indicator. Yeah, how cool would that be? Get a liquid level indicator built in.
How deep is this puddle? Yeah, that'd be good.
That was a Bee Gees song, wasn't it? Right, let's move on to Thomas.
Hello, Tom in Colorado here. I just listened to your episode on Wednesday, August 13th, specifically the interview with the spokesperson for the Scottish Tech Army. Thank you so much for that interview. It's very informative, and those folks are doing a great job. As you guys are aware, I am an Android user, and I really appreciate the Soundscape app being ported over. I've been using it for better part of a week now, in a very limited use case out here in the boonies, but nonetheless, and I've provided them some feedback and they have been extremely responsive. Shout out to Dave or David Craig. He's doing a great job. And yeah, I highly recommend people interested in it use it. You can call it a beta, but it's in pretty darn good solid shape. So yeah, great stuff.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. And glad to hear that you're enjoying Soundscape on Android. I see that there's a new newsletter, I think, that's being produced by the Scottish Tech Army on this as well, which is great. So, more people getting involved and, feeding back. I have to say, we did catch up with Kirsty afterwards, following that interview, just to feed back a lot of the comments we've had on the show about people who've been using the app and responding to it. And she says that, they've had a huge uptick in numbers since the interview aired here on Double Tap, and feedback has followed suit as well, with lots of great ideas, but also huge praise. Yeah, I don't know. I always feel proud because it's Scottish, and I know that's ridiculous because, that doesn't mean anything. It's not like I'm involved. But, I am proud of the guys because I think they're doing an amazing thing. And I think the voluntary aspect of their job, where they bring in volunteers to do the coding and do the work on it, it's kind of brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, there's no downside to it. And in that announcement as well, I did see that the feedback, they've already fixed some bugs. And the more users they get, they specifically went into this, is that there's so many different handsets when it comes to Android, different manufacturers, that it makes such a difference because they get more of the feedback from different experiences, different crashes on this handset as opposed to this handset. And they've already made some updates and bugs fixes to this. So it all helps. The feedback is amazing.
Yeah. Let's hear from Charles.
Hello, Double Tappers. Charles coming to you from a place called Sacred Beast Diner here in Southwest Ohio. And my partner and I are out celebrating her birthday / Mother's Day kind of at the same time. We had a conversation about accessible menus, and this is a very local place to the point where walking in, I didn't even bother checking for an accessible menu, and it got me thinking, what are your guys' go-to solutions for quick menu reading? Do you use Ira or Be My Eyes? Is there a menu app? I have vague recollections of people trying to build menu databases, but that was maybe 10 or 15 years ago, so I don't know if those types of apps still exist. Do you guys ask your server? What's your thoughts? If you sit down to a restaurant and you want to be out and about and you find yourself in a position where there is not an accessible menu, what's your technical solution for that?
It's a great question. Personally, I just ask nowadays. I think I'm at the point where I just think, you know what? Tell me the specials, go through it, or just give me a burger if I can't be bothered with all that.
I was just going to say that. You always say, have you got any burgers?
Yeah.
I'll have a burger. Because you cannot be bothered, Stephen.
Or pasta.
Scott.
Something pasta and chicken, but nothing spicy. That's it. That's all I ever say.
So
because that's so true. That's why I'm so...
It is, exactly.
My wife says to me,
time.
I'm the greatest guy in the world to cook for, because you could give me a piece of bread with some butter on it, and I would even say to you, you know what? If you can't be bothered with the butter, don't worry about it. I'll just eat the bread.
Yeah, I can take or leave the bread even.
Don't bother.
You want an easy life. It's a great question, though, because, all that, the tech is the answer. I'm exactly the same. I just ask the waiter or waitress or server. I just say, can you tell me, just go through the headings and I'll stop you when I want to, get some more detail. Or the other thing I usually do, if I know what I'm going beforehand, I go to the website and usually there's a online menu, which is usually accessible as long as it's not just a picture, a graphic of the menu. But if you're doing it spontaneously, there's absolutely nothing wrong. And it's usually quicker just to say to the waitress, can you please just read the menu for me?
I think that's the problem, right? I mean, if you're going somewhere alone, that's different. But if you're going with friends or you're going with family, it's sometimes just easier to let them take the lead or take someone to take the lead on it. And I know it's like, we should be doing it ourselves. Yeah, I know, but the problem is that if you're going out for dinner with people, you're generally not going out with this kind of like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to scan this image and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to run it through Be My Eyes and I'm going to get AI to check it. Because what you're actually doing is saying, hey, how are you? having a nice time. You're chatting about why you're, it's like you're talking about the whole thing. And most of the time, as actually was the case, I met someone recently and it was exactly that. We spent more time talking. The guy was back and forward 3 or 4 times. You ready to? No, we're still chatting here, right? Go away. Because you're just chatting with people.
Nice
that's
and polite.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was a Scottish restaurant.
Go away, leave me alone.
Leave me alone. You'll trust me. You'll know when I'm hungry.
No, but that's why they're there, though. They're there to help. And, a lot of people, it's funny, when I do that, other people on the table that aren't visually impaired will ask questions about the menu anyway. So it's not like it's something you're asking something, I can't believe you're asking me to do that. It's an extra thing.
They often say, you got that in the menu. All right, where's that? And they get interested in whatever it is. So yeah, I know technology. Sometimes we're always looking sometimes for the tech answer when sometimes the tongue in our head is good enough, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe there is an app, wasn't there? What was that? Menus app, accessible menus.
Menus for all. I think
came back. Menus for all. That's exactly right. Very US specific. I seem to remember the last time I used it. So I don't know how useful it's going to be elsewhere, but maybe worth a look. Menus for all.
Let's go to final one for the day from Stuart.
Hello, Stephen and Shaun, and everybody listening to Double Tap. This is Stuart Lawler from Ireland. Just feeding back on the show from Friday, the 15th of August, and there was a discussion of these NAS devices, which, like Shaun, I always understood were called network attached storage devices as well. I've had 2 of these over the last 10 years, and I swear by them. The first one was a Western Digital MyCloud device, and then that service and support for that stopped because the firmware became out of date, and it was going to be exposed to security vulnerabilities. So I bought a MyCloud Home device. It doesn't have the sophistications of the RAID and mirroring, and I am thinking of upgrading to a more professional NAS device, but they are absolutely brilliant. And one thing I thought of in relation to Tailscale, which I think would be really useful, is that I don't have a machine here that's permanently turned on. So I don't share a hard drive on a machine that's permanently turned on. So if I could install Tailscale on something like the MyCloud, which is a Linux device, that would be really interesting. And I'm wondering if that's possible. Maybe Tim Dixon or somebody else might be able to comment on that. Because if it was, then that would make me definitely look at Tailscale. Outside of that, I don't have a real use for it at the moment because I don't have a machine turned on all the time that I would be using in order to access a shared drive, if you get me. But yeah, the network attached storage devices are great. I've, as I say, I've had them for 10 years or so, and I think they just set it, as they say, set it and forget it. It's just there. Accessibility certainly on the MyCloud devices was a bit hairy, but once you can access the drive then via Windows or even via the Files app on iOS, it's fine, and it just sits quietly and does its thing. Anyway, enjoy the show as always, and thanks a mil, guys.
Yeah, good friend Stuart Lawler there, of course, on the subject of NAS drives. This, of course, following the conversation we had with Tim and Callum on the subject of networking and using this app called Tailscale. It's a great conversation that we had on the Double Tap Extra podcast, which you can subscribe to by searching your podcast directory for Double Tap Extra or summoning your smart speaker. I asked Google smart speaker last night to play it. Didn't have a clue what I was talking about. And then I realized, I haven't assigned a podcast provider for that particular device. So had to do that. And I used Spotify because it was either that or YouTube Music. Weird. So didn't use that and used Spotify. I don't pay for Spotify, but I have an account. So I was able to link it, and I got Double Tap Extra. So there you go, a bit of tech info.
On Spotify?
And we're on Spotify as well. I have no idea how we got there, but there you go. We're like Joe Rogan. We're like Joe Rogan now. Just like him, without the money.
Please review in your favorite podcast app. 5 stars would be nice, but 1 star is fine as well.
Anything will do. We're happy with anything around here, honestly. But no, it's a really interesting point. And, I think for me, the thing is because I have a Dropbox account, I use that to back up my drive. So I don't worry about having multiple drives like a RAID. So I, have it all backed up locally. Dropbox is doing the work for me there. So I'm not too worried about that. It's hence why I can have one drive connected to my computer. And then that is essentially a server. It's a very cheap, nasty homemade server, right? It's just a computer that's got a drive attached to it. But, we're using it and it's fine.
It's exactly the same as these network attached storage devices anyway. It's got, a processor, memory. It's basically a computer you don't really play with a hard drive attached.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of your Geekom mini PC, the A5.
Leave that alone. That's a perfectly good
USB.
machine for everything but being a server.
That would be a great server, Stephen Scott. We should set that up.
I could
And
buy
I
another
believe
one.
you can. Tailscale is available on many platforms, including Linux. So I don't know if you can get it specifically on the Western Digital, but if it does have a Linux terminal, you should be able to do that. Tim Dixon, as ever, is your expert.
We will check in with Tim on that one because he did buy something, and I think it might have been a WD, but I can't remember. We will definitely check in with Tim on that to find out what he's using, because he did do that. He installed Tailscale on whatever he has. But yeah, we will check in with him on that. Listen, thank you for all your feedback. As always, keep it coming. We'll get to more of it on the next Double Tap. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to write in as you do. And Shaun, catch you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.